Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Dattie podcast. It is February 19th, 2024, and I am here with Chakay Smith from San Francisco, California, representing Gerow Hair Inc. How's it going, Chakay?
It's going great, Joey. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So you said you're getting over a little bit of a cold?
Yes, you hear my pitch going up and down or sounding crazy. Um, that's why. So forgive me.
You feeling better? Or I mean, is it like towards the end of it, do you think?
Yeah, it's towards the end of it. It's just it's just trying to get the rest of the whatever's in there out of there, but I feel good. Just my voice has been off, and it's actually been off since last Sunday because it's the Super Bowl, so my Niners.
Yeah.
A lot of yelling. So,
Yeah, I'm sure people were frustrated, right?
yes, very. Sorry. Yeah, all right.
So So, Chakay, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in the Bay Area, in particularly Richmond, California. So born and raised, didn't go too far. And I'm probably about 20 miles from my hometown. So I'm still local.
Okay. Are you married?
I am. I am married and I have six amazing children and one grandson.
Wow. Wow, you're
Yes.
6, and I saw you recently had a birthday, and you look incredible, by the way. I saw that. You really do, and 6 kids. What are their age ranges?
They range from 29 to 9.
Wow, wow. So that is, you got everything.
Yes, yes, four boys, two girls. But we only have two left in the house. Our boys are adults, so they are out doing their thing and being amazing.
Are the 2 youngest girls?
Yes,
Okay, so you literally raised up 4 boys, and then now you got 2 girls.
yes, yes. So I have one in high school and one in grade school. But it's not done. It's the grandkids are going to be coming in. I have one already. He'll be 3 in April, and I'm sure we'll have more. But just take it one kid at a time.
What's it like for you dealing with that? I mean, and running your business and being a mom and, obviously you probably don't gotta worry about the boys too much, but definitely the girls.
It's actually great because being self-employed allows me to um, make my work around them. And when I started in the beauty industry, oh gosh, when was this? 9, 10 years ago. It was because of that. At that time, the boys were all in school. All of them had different activities, mainly in sports. And I just wanted to be available to them and their needs because, they're only young once. And so that was a big reason of me coming into the beauty industry so I can make my own schedule, have that balance, and be there for my kids and my family. Extremely, extremely important to me.
Yeah, and I think it should be important to anybody if you wanna be a good parent, a great parent, right? Definitely prioritize your
Right.
kids. And you're right, you can be although sometimes it can be demanding, you can also say, "Look, I'm just" like, if I have a vacation or something, I just say, "I'm booked," or "I'm just not available that day," and it is what it is.
Correct, correct. So even now, excuse me, my oldest daughter, she's 15, and she plays on a travel ball basketball team, and that's getting ready to start up. So I'm looking at her schedule, and I am closing off days in my schedule so I can make sure I can be there for her for travel.
It's a good mom. That's a good mom.
I'm trying.
So what kind of work did you do before SMP? You said you got into, like, the PMU beauty industry. What were you doing?
Oh boy, Joey, I was doing a lot. um, my background really was retail security. I started that when I was 18. And then from there, I was actually a police officer.
Shut up. Were you really?
I
For how
was
long?
for 6 years.
Wow.
I'm outside of the city, and I was actually a police officer for the city of Richmond, California. So, yeah, I totally avoided that whole area um, for many reasons, but just wanted to contribute and give back to the town that I grew up in. So there was an opportunity at that time. Gosh, I was in my 20s. But yeah, I was a police officer, had to retire medically. I had an injury. But yeah, from there, I went into the restaurant business. So I owned a couple of restaurants, and
Wow.
from there, kind of went back into investigations privately. And then that's where I was like, I don't know. I feel like I've always had an entrepreneur spirit. So had a great time in the restaurant industry. Went back to corporate America, and it wasn't fulfilling for me. It just I felt like I was still missing something. My family and friends, they thought I was crazy. Like, these are great jobs. What do you mean? And it's no, I'm still missing something. And not only that, I have my kids, and I needed a balance, something that I love to do. So got into the beauty industry, and I never looked back. It gave me everything that I needed and more. So I started off doing lash extensions, and then it went into PMU and then to SMP.
Wow. Wow. So you said a lot there. So I want to back up. So your injury in the police, are you good now? Are you functioning? I mean, do you have any major issues? Like,
Okay. No, I don't. And I'm good now. It's a knee injury. So other than when it's wintertime and cold and the arthritis starts kicking in a little bit, I'm other than that, I'm good.
okay, that's good to hear. Now, what kind of restaurants did you start or get
I
into?
was yes, I was soul food restaurants. Um, but my concept was quick service. Um, because like many women, uh, we're working women, and you know as I grew up, I had home cooked meals every single night. But now, more and more women are out there in the workforce, and when you get home, it's just like, oh my gosh, now I gotta cook and just tired. So I came up with the concept of having quick service home cooked meals. And excuse me, went to Culinary Academy to learn how to be a restaurant manager. So anyone can cook. Well, let me take that back. Not everyone can cook.
Yeah.
I can, I can certainly cook. Um, but it was, how do I bring this concept together for working families to where they're not always going to get takeout, fast food, processed food, where it's actually cooked from scratch. So went to the Culinary Academy, learned how to manage a restaurant, food control, everything. And we were able to come up with this concept and make sure our food was fresh, made from scratch, and it was done quickly. And in order to do that, it was all about forecasting. So learn that and open the restaurants, and it did exactly that. So I
What
was
was the
really
name of the
happy.
restaurant?
It was called Louisiana Fried Chicken,
Okay.
and it's actually it's a chain. It's not a franchise. It was a license agreement based out of Los Angeles, California, and I frequent that area a lot. And so I would always go there. But what I liked about the chain was that you buy the license to carry the name, to carry the ingredients for the mixes for the chicken, but able to create your own menu. So that's where my concept came in, carrying their name. And so, yeah, so with that, I was able to open, had 3 locations.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And so would somebody like if somebody wanted to order, would they do it I guess a couple days in advance and you'd make sure the food was delivered before they get home or how did it work?
No, they can actually come in and order whatever they want to order, and we'll have it ready for them within 5, 6 minutes.
Okay. Okay. And these are
Yes.
all like uh different than like a McDonald's. This is all home cooked meals.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm talking about mac and cheese. I'm talking about collard greens. I'm talking about candied yams. I'm talking about red beans and rice and
Good
paying
stuff.
homage. Yes, paying homage to my background. My grandparents were from the South. So, uh, so I wanted to have, and I love soul food. And so I wanted to have that kind of menu along with the fried chicken and catfish, um, hot water cornbread. So I had a unique menu, something that you would cook up at home. And with that, like I said, it was all about planning. So whatever my cooks were making that day, they were making it for the next day because that day was already done and ready. So
Okay.
we would make trays, prepping the food. So in the morning they come in, they're either going in the oven, heating up on top of the stove. So the food is already done. We're just baking it now so it's fresh. Putting them in the heat warmers. So as people were coming in, the food's ready.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then they just you just hand it on over and okay, that is a good concept. And was that were you doing that before like I forget what they I guess now they have this thing my wife did where they send you the ingredients, but you cook it at home. I forget what the name of it is, but was that before all that?
That was before all of that. Our food was cooked. It was actually cooked. Um, so I did a lot of catering as well because it was actually cooked, fresh food. Like I said, and some food you have to make the next day so it can marinate. Like our greens, the collard, I would do collard and mustard greens mixed, and I mean, even to this day, if I make them at home, I'm making them for the next day because they
Okay. Yeah,
taste better the next day.
100%. We just made wings the other day and I let it marinate overnight. Makes a big difference, people. Really does.
Same concept. Yes, absolutely.
So after the restaurants, what did you say you were doing? You got back into corporate?
Yes, because right around that time is when the economy kind of went like this, and honestly, I was doing a lot with the restaurants. It was really taking me away from everything because I was constantly working. So when the economy hit, things kind of took a plunge. So I ended up closing down 2 of the restaurants, kept one open, but by that time I was just spent, literally working 7 days a week, on call all the time, and I'm just doing everything.
We ran
So
out of
it
this.
was
We need you.
everything. Being a babysitter to 30 plus employees, it
Oh my
was
God.
it was a lot. It was a
You had 30
burnout, to be
employees at a
honest.
location?
Different locations,
Oh wow. I
about
mean,
30 total.
it's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's a lot. And so it was a burnout. And I lost my passion for it because then it started feeling like a job. So I was just burnt out. I needed some normalcy to my life. So an opportunity came up for a county position, a local county position as an investigator. So I took it to get some balance back and
Yeah.
did that for a few years and went on to being a security director at a mall, Hilltop, called Hilltop Mall in Richmond. So I did that, but still unfulfilled. I'm like, oh, I'm missing being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into lashes and lashed by Chakay. That was my first business name was
Okay.
born.
My sister does the lashes now. She kind of, she did lashes and now she does the PMU. I think that's
Mhm.
definitely a better way to get familiar with touching people, right? It's a big difference from doing security to going to touching people's faces.
That is true. And one thing is, I am customer service driven. So I have always believed in the power of customer service. And even being a police officer, even before that, retail security, even before that, being a sales associate, uh, I've always been attracted to customer service because I like making people happy. Um, and I know what I would want as a consumer, and so I felt like getting back into that industry and just knowing how I touched people in a way where it made them feel good, even when I was running the restaurants, even when I was a police officer doing community policing. Um, it was all customer service based. And I just feel like that was truly a gift for me on how to effectively communicate with people and get things done. And just it really being who I am, truly who I am as a person. I just want to help people and make them feel good. So it was it just came natural.
It's much more rewarding, right? What we kind of do now versus just being handed more paperwork.
Correct. That's boring to me.
Yeah.
I want to be in front of people and talking to them and listening to them and see what I can do to impact their life in a positive way.
Good. And so once you're doing the eyelashes, right? When do you take the move into, I guess, PMU, and what type of PMU were you doing?
So I started doing lashes in 2013, and about 2016, I started doing brows, microblading. Um, yeah, it's just one thing about me. I can't stay stagnant with just something, even though I loved lashes. But it's like, okay, I want more. I want to do more. Oh, what's this? Oh, brows. That looks like a challenge. Let me see what that's about. So I started doing brows in 2016. Um, great, great. Still can continue doing lashes. And then 2 years later, 2018, uh, scalp micropigmentation just kind of came on my feed on Instagram. I was like, whoa, what is that?
And
So,
that's
yeah.
it's so that's how you kind of learned about SMP? Was you
Yes.
saw it on Instagram? So you're doing the lashes, then you're doing the eyebrows, and then you're like, okay, I see this. I see an opportunity. And so what did you do? Because we trained at the same place, you know. Uh, I trained with Gerow. So I trained with a guy named Dan Urenberg who passed away in DC, and then I went on to train with John. And so, what did you end up doing? Did you fly out to New York and say, "Hey, I want to train with you guys"? How did it all happen?
So, not quite, but when I saw it and did some research on it again, it was more of, okay, now it's impacting people's lives a different way. This is actually bringing back someone's confidence, making them feel good. It's a solution to one's problem. So from there, I'm like, yeah, I did the research. I'm like, I could totally do this. It's a challenge. Let me find the right person for me to learn how to do this. And I did go to New York, but I did not go to Gerow. I didn't know about John back then. I actually went to Matt Iulo,
Oh,
with Scalp Micro. Hmm.
Trader. I'm kidding. They're friends. They're friends, people.
Yeah. He was the only one, honestly, back then, he was the only one that I saw on social media
Yeah.
like that. So, looked into his work. It looked amazing. And, one thing about me, I will travel and do anything. Um, I believe in myself. I have no problem investing in myself. So, I flew to New York, which was like my first time being there. I went alone, and had an amazing time.
It's a little
And
overwhelming, right?
it was. I was there for a week. But yeah, this is something I really felt I could do, I wanted to do. And so yeah, I just said, let me put my big girl pants on and fly across the country and learn this unique technique.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. And then so how did you so you learn with Scout Micro USA, you come back and now you're like, okay, you need some guinea pigs. Did you end up doing any of your friends or family?
Of course.
You got to, right? You got to.
Yes, yes, of course. And the first two were friends of mine, that my girlfriend's husbands, and one of them, I feel like I messed up, but not in a way where it's like, oh my gosh, I think I got my mixture off. It was off, so it was more watered down.
So it's real
So
light.
it's super light. It's
Yeah.
like you can still see the hairline, but it's just a shadow, or like a really, really light shadow. And so, of course, what I know now, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's totally fixable. We're just trying to find our times. But when I finished with him, uh, that guy, oh my gosh, so funny. It's almost like you can see, because men, you guys internalize everything, and I get it, the macho ego thing, but I literally saw him stand up a little bit taller, and then the coming weeks, he actually lost a lot of weight.
Wow.
And then a couple months later, my girlfriend calls me. She was like, "Thanks a lot, Chakay. We are expecting another child."
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So definitely brought his confidence back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And for people listening, it's better you have a it's much better to use go lighter than to go too dark, right?
Correct,
In the
correct.
beginning, we all make mistakes. I made them. Everybody does, and it's a much better problem to have if it's you can't see it versus holy crap. This is you might have to get it lasered or something. So that's
Yes,
good.
yes,
That's good on you being cautious.
yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely. And then my other friend's husband, I literally just saw him over the weekend, and it still looks good. I'm really proud of him. I'm like, okay, it still looks good. I said, we could probably do a touch up maybe next year sometime, but it still looks really good. So yeah, I was really proud of that.
What was the hardest thing for you to learn doing SMP? Switching over, in browse, you're mapping. It's like that. I don't know. To me, it seems like it takes forever. Out like an hour, 2 hours. The whole
Hmm.
mapping thing. What's the hardest part for you learning SMP?
I would say probably pressure, my control, because when you're doing permanent makeup, it's a different, even though it's machine work, it's a different technique, and so the pressure is different. The hand control, all of that, the technique is different. So finding my sweet spot was really hard for me. It really
I think
was.
that's a good answer. That's I think most people struggle with that. You know, it takes a
Mhm.
long time and lots of heads to kind of figure that out because some people's skin is real thin, some is
Right.
thick, some of them have, indents in them or scars. It does. It takes a while to get that down.
Yes. Yes. I would say that and hairlines. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh.
it's
Oh yeah.
and you know as I am moving along in this industry and with training and things like that, even with barbers, a barber can definitely do a hairline when they are cutting hair because there's something there. But I find that they even struggle actually drawing a hairline. So I think starting out, it's just about finding your groove and practicing. Um, but I would say mainly the technique itself. It was really it was challenging.
I agree. The hairline is by far the hardest. I like doing the natural hairline better. The hard, permanent shape up. Some people like doing it and they think that's easier. To me, it's harder just because getting it perfect and then doing it and then trying not to smear the line. That's the challenge for me. You know,
Same.
all
I agree. I agree.
Um, so how did you end up? So Gerow Hair Inc. is one of the biggest SMP companies in the world, just like Scalp Micro USA. How'd you end up getting that deal? How'd that all come together?
So last year, okay, hold on, wait, we're in 2024, 23, 2022, 2022, December. I was traveling out there with a friend of mine. She was actually doing a collaboration, PMU collaboration, with Gerow. And I don't know, something was moving me to say, um, I feel like I need to go to New York with you. And I don't know what it was. Um, I just felt like I needed to go. I will help you, whatever. But yeah, I feel like I need to go. She's like, yeah, please come. So I went. Um, she was doing a training at their studio. I met the guys and I told them, hey, yeah, I do SMP as well. And Jonathan was like, oh, yeah? He's like, come on over here. And so we started talking and he was showing me some things. And um, I really liked the fact that he was very friendly, and open. And I met the rest of the guys, and just it felt very natural. Like they were um, so open and so welcoming, and I just thought, I'm like, wow, these are some great guys. And just watching what they were doing, and them just talking to me, and we're just bouncing things off of each other. And it motivated me. I always wanted to get into training. And so when I left that visit, I felt like, okay, I'm ready to start getting into training. Okay, that's going to be my focus for 2023. So I went back home and just started putting together a training manual because I was very inspired. But leaving, before I left, with Eric, I was having a conversation with him, and he's like, we're about to launch our product called InQ.
Shout out
And
InQ.
shout out to InQ. He was like, here's some needles. Let me know what you think. And so I took them home, and probably the best needles I've ever worked with. Um, and so I called him up. I'm like, okay, this was such a tease. I need more. I need more. This is a tease. I'm like, these needles are amazing. So um, roll into 2023, I believe it was February, my friend was going back out there, and I'm like, I'm going with you. Um, because now I'm like, okay, I want to get into education, and I want to partner up with them as far as ink you because I want to start offering their products to my future students. So that's how, when I got there, I pitched that to the guys. And at the time Juan was there, he's like, oh, okay. We were thinking about expanding. I was like, oh, you guys should come out to California. Like, yeah, we were thinking about that. So I'm talking to Eric and telling him, I really want to get into training. And it was like, oh, yeah, you do? I'm like, yeah, I do. Still not even putting this connection together that, you know, it wasn't in my mind to work with them. It was in my mind to get product from them,
Yeah, yeah,
So he was like, well, let's have some conversation about that. I'm like, okay. So we had been talking, and he's like, if you want to work with us, you can. And I'm like, what? Me? Who? Me? I'm like, yeah, you. And I'm like, and I was just like, wow, this is what an honor
yeah,
because, they could work with anybody, you
yeah.
know. And it wasn't about that. It was about aligning with the right people and the connection. And we were all on the same path about the SMP industry. I know for me, it was about keeping the industry solid and really educating students about what scalp micropigmentation is and educating them to a point where they can educate their clients. So it seemed like we were all on the same page with that. So that's where the connection really just came into play, and that's where I am.
Wow. Wow, that's good. So, I mean, you really went out there with, "Hey, I'm trying to get a, good deal on these needles. If I buy a
Mhm.
large amount, whatever, I wanna work with you. I really like your product." And it ends up negotiating into you're gonna
Being in a
open
partnership.
another Gerow branch out in, is it in it's not actually in San Francisco, is the location?
Yes, my studio is actually in a town called Pinole, California, which is about 40 minutes outside of San Francisco. But to the larger mass, no one knows, unless you're in the Bay Area, no one knows what Pinole is. But you do know the Bay Area, you do know the San Francisco Bay Area. So that's what I refer it to.
Okay. I've been out to San Francisco. I remember the Fisherman's Wharf, you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about? Yeah.
yes.
I liked it. I hear it's really expensive and obviously like we touched on, there's some chaos going on there right now, but I hope it's cleaned up and so hope it doesn't affect your business.
No, it doesn't affect my business at all. And it's getting there. They have a long way to go, but it's slowly but surely
Um
getting there.
that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Um Let me ask you this. I saw you went to Dubai because you're talking about traveling and you'll go anywhere. How was the Dubai trip and what was that for?
Dubai was an amazing experience. First time uh, out of the country in that capacity, and I knew I wanted to start getting out there and networking more in the industry. And so, of course, you go out there, you want to see great things, but for me, it was more than that. It was literally work and making connections. That was my purpose. And so I did just that. It was my first, I wouldn't say my first conference, but first big conference that I went to, and it did not disappoint. It was absolutely amazing. Um, and I met some amazing people from around the world who I actually stay in contact with to this day. And that was the purpose of doing it. But it just really opened my eyes up to a bigger audience outside of the US. Um, and there are so many talented PMU and SMP artists around this world. And it was definitely an eye opener. It definitely made me open my eyes bigger and to see that the platform is much bigger than what we have here in the US. So um, it just, yeah, it just kind of unleashed a bigger door for me to say like, wow, this is huge, and I want to be a part of it and be more impactful, not just here in the US, but in the world.
Yeah, and it's a great networking opportunity you get to talk about. Now, was most of the presentations, were they in English?
Yes, yes, they were. They
Okay.
were.
And I saw the pictures. It looked like you had a really fun time, by the way. What was it? What was the actual name of the event?
It's a Woolop event. So it was Woolop Dubai. Woolop is definitely growing around the world. Mr. Woolop himself was there, so I had an opportunity to meet him. Like I said, but different vendors, manufacturers, artists, other organizers. It was really nice. It was really really nice. Looking forward to going back.
You'll do it. You do it again?
Yes, God willing, I
Yeah.
I would I would love to.
Um, let me change it up a little bit. So you do an SMP. As far as I could tell, you don't have SMP, and I ask this to all women in the SMP industry. Do you think you have a bit of a challenge when a guy comes in? He's like, "You don't have SMP. You're female." Do you think that prevents you from possibly getting more male clients, and then maybe you pick up more female, or do you think it doesn't really matter?
Good question. I don't think it really matters. No one's ever asked me if I had SMP, although I do feel like at some point I'm gonna need it right here on my legs.
Oh, you look
Everyone's like, no,
great.
no, I had to brush my hair a certain way, um, but no, it's never been an issue with me. And I think part of the reason for that is because, just what I said a little while ago, I'm not there to sell myself or sell the service, um, to anybody. I am there to educate my clients, you know. And so with that being said, I pretty much just tell them what, first of all, on myself, going back to that service part of who I am and what I would look for, as a consumer. So there's a couple of things I take into consideration, when I am speaking with someone. How do I want to be spoken to? How do I want them to make me feel? And and then I educate them. I listen to them. I give them a voice, because SMP, as you know, it's an emotional service. And so, when they come in, sometimes they're already kind of shy, feeling defeated, frustrated, um, just ready to give up. It's almost like a last resort. So they don't know what to expect. And so I want to make sure I provide a safe environment for them to open up and tell me their story. And from there, I listen. I listen to a lot of key things that they have to say, especially if they're talking about family or how it has made them feel, what they've gone through. And from there, I listen with just an open mind. And from there, I just start talking, and it's more of a conversation. It's not necessarily like a consultation environment. It's just two people having a conversation about, what they're going through. And so from there, I just educate them. I give them the information, so they'll know what it is, what SMP is, what to expect, what I can do. And for them to, my goal, of course, is to um, have them as a client, but I want them to be able to make an informed decision so they can feel confident that I am the person for them to help solve their problem.
I love that. And anybody listening to this, if you made it this far into the conversation, what Chakay said is very important because you're not a used car salesman. You know, you give, yeah, what I do the same thing. I present them the information. I say, this is what we can do. And then if you want to do it, we can do it. But I'm not like, you got to do it. You know, it's not a hard sale because you don't want them to regret or talk crap online or say, you know what I mean? You want them to be happy because it's going to be more of a headache if you're kind of forcing them into it by doing a hard sale.
Correct. And what what we have to understand as artists, and even for the newbies that are coming into the industry, what you have to understand is you have to give the value of the service. You have to give the value of who you are as an artist, you know. And so when that person understands the value on something that can help them, and then they can see your passion and your commitment to it, I would tell you most of the time we're not even talking about price. It almost it comes, oh, by the way, it's this much, and but I already have my iPad out finding a time slot for them to schedule them, because it's what I have already established and set up from the moment they walk in my door. Okay. And just how I greet them and the energy that I give them. From that to sitting down and having a one-on-one conversation. I don't even think of it as a consultation, having a conversation and explaining to them what it is, listening to them, and them feeling and hearing the value of this service. That's very, very important to establish that trust with your client for them to move forward with you.
I agree. I mean, building trust is super important. And with that, I mean, so I'm assuming you've talked to a lot of women who come in as well, right? And
Yes.
so, and I've also had a lot of women from younger ages to people who are older. I worked on a woman who was 78 years old one time, and I didn't really want to. She cleared it. I have every ethnicity and so on. And I hear their stories, and women definitely, I feel, take it worse than men, right? Because men, you kind of expect, it's another bald guy, whatever. You know, Michael Jordan made it cool. There's a lot of Joe Rogan. There's The Rock, famous bald guys. They're a bald guy, right? But for women, I feel like it definitely impacts them more. What do you see with women? Do you think there's anything they could do to prevent their hair loss? Do you think some of it is self-inflicted, maybe from using different products? Or I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So with women, it's both sides. So we have, when you see women have hair loss around their hairline, a lot of that is from traction alopecia,
Mhm.
from just wearing, tight ponytails or hair extensions, just not taking care of it that way. And then you have um, common alopecia where you'll find patches throughout the scalp, or it's just, the hair is gone, or just even female pattern baldness,
Yeah.
which is mainly here at the top of the head and some in the front. Um, I would say more of what you may see around the hairline is more because of maybe products and tension, too much tension on the scalp causes that. And I see that a lot, like I said, in women that have too much tension, whether it be from locks. I've seen that a lot. Or again, just pulling, constantly pulling on their hair over time. And then you start seeing it getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And just not understanding really um, what it takes and when not to do it, or just not understanding the dynamics of how much you can really kill your hair follicles if you don't take care of it. Now, for me, example, thinning runs in my family, and so I'm very, very conscious about how I style my hair. My hair is short on purpose. I chose this hairstyle, but
Looks
when I
great,
was
by the way.
thank you. Thank you. But I used to wear hair extensions a lot. Um, and but I was still mindful, of wearing the hair extensions. Like I wouldn't leave them in for a long period of time. And even with the braids, I love braids. I still wear them, but I leave them in for only 4 weeks. And I take them out, because I need to make sure that I am protecting the sides of my hair because this is where I am most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you have to be mindful. And if I wasn't, oh, I would definitely need SMP because I know that my hair, like many women in my family, um, we are very thin up here. So I have to be careful and mindful of that.
My
So
wife is
because I,
experiencing it right now. I mean, she just had a baby, so like all this
mm-hmm,
and this side has like fallen, like it's like baby hair right now, and
mm-hmm,
we're hoping it grows back. But it happens. There's a
it
variety of
does.
things, and she's panicking.
It
And with
does.
everything you said, I've also heard from other women, and
Mhm.
so I have my own thoughts on that, and I'd like to share them with you, and you tell me what you think. Um, so
Before
with
you say that,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but for your wife, same thing happened to me with my last child. I lost all my hair up here, and so I had to wear a wig for a few months. Tell your wife to take biotin, just
Biotin.
straight biotin. I went to the max. I did 10,000 MCGs, but they have them in 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000. I did 10,000, just one little pill a day, and my hair grew back in like 4 or 5 months.
Wow. Wow, that's good news. That's really good news to hear. And it's good for your nails too, right?
Yes, it is. It is. These are fake, but they are. They're really good for your nails. I still take them to this day. But just be aware, some people may experience growing hair in other places too. I did not, but I've
Because it's
heard
making
of
everything
women
grow.
making everything grow. But definitely made my hair grow back. So biotin.
Good to know. Yeah, so what I was kind of alluding to is because I've heard so many stories and spent hours and hours with so many women one on one, and specifically women who have the traction alopecia. And I'm wondering, as much as I like to make money and help them out, I think, what if they didn't? A lot of them almost feel obligated not to just wear their hair natural and let it grow out. It just looks different. It looks different than hair that is straight and falls down. But I feel like if all the women just let their hair grow out, it would just be common knowledge, and we would all be accustomed to it. Because I hate to see, someone, they spend all this money and they have the little patches and everything, and I feel like a lot of it, kind of what you were saying, it could be prevented with the way that they wore it, either too tight or taking it out, within 3 to 4 weeks, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, and it's just we have grown into just from an early age, little girl, that our hair is our crown and glory. And so, as little girls, our mothers will take care of our hair, put pretty barrettes or different type of things, make our hair look pretty. And same thing what I did with my daughters. I'm done with their hair. Oh, you look so pretty. Look at your hair. Look at your hair. It's so pretty. It's so long. It's so thick. And it's always about the hair. And so as that child is growing, oh, my hair has to be right. Or even when I go out of town and my husband's here and I'm like, don't have my daughters out here looking like they don't have a mama. So, you know, make sure their hair is right. So it's always been attention to hair for women, for girls. So as they're growing up, same thing. They're just, oh, my hair needs to be right. And so we're putting in different products, but we're doing them a disservice if we're not teaching them how to take care of their hair. And so because that wasn't happening in my generation, um, when as we started getting older and our hair was changing, no one was telling us, "Oh, that's not good for you." Not even our own hairstylists. They weren't telling us, "Oh, that's not good for you. That's not good for you. You shouldn't do this." It's like, "Oh, I'm starting to thin, girl. What can you do right here? Oh, what can you do? Oh, well, let me just slap some of this in here, or let's cover this up with this." But we're not saying you need to take a break. You don't need this because of A, B, or C. So none of that was taught to us. It is now. I'm doing that with my girls now because I'm seeing what's coming through my door or what I'm seeing when I'm out in public, the struggles that women are doing to try to hold on to what they have because they weren't educated early on.
Those are
So
some
now,
really good points. That's
yeah.
and that all makes sense. Uh,
Mhm.
Educating the kids when they're younger and when they're going to get their hair done, maybe the person wants to keep them coming back, right? The
Of
hairdresser's like,
course.
"Hey, this is another check. You come in every couple of weeks. Why tell them how to prevent it when if it, might stay like this for a little bit, I'll fix it again. I'll fix it again."
And that's the problem. And so you're becoming part of the problem instead of the solution. And so with me, um, same thing coming into lash extensions or permanent makeup or scalp. Um, Everyone's not a candidate. And I tell my students, don't be afraid to say no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's because everyone's not a candidate, and that's okay. But if you do something and it doesn't work out for them and it's in a bad way, as much as they wanted it, I wanted it, they're not going to tell that story. Well, you know what? I made them do it. I wanted this so bad. They're not going to tell that story. They're going to say, well, Chakay did this, and this is what it looks like.
Yes, they will. Yes, they
You
will,
know,
and they'll be
so
happy.
mhm. So we have to start changing that narrative and saying no, or saying this is what you need. And even having kids at home, especially women, you know, all these products that are out there, are we reading the ingredients of these products? What's best for them? Like my daughters, they can wear their hair straight, they can wear their hair curly, but I have to be very mindful of what I put into their hair. Of course they want to walk around here with straight hair, and I'm like, well, that's going to be a lot of heat to your hair, and you don't need that right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a
I
whole lifetime to do that. But right now, you're still young. Enjoy your curls.
Yeah, for real. I'm glad you said that, because I just think educating them and just letting feel proud about, my hair grows up and it's curly. It looks different than some other people, but it doesn't look bad. It's just different.
Mhm.
Be
Right.
proud of it. I think
Yes.
the more people who do that, the less issues down the road, hopefully, you know?
Yeah, and you just have to, and you have to know when to say when. You have to know when to let go and embrace the changes that may come about. For me, I still relax my hair, you know, um, but I also have a great hairstylist. And sometimes I will put extensions in my hair, and sometimes she'll tell me, "Oh, we're going to take a break from that." And now I'm to a point where I'm like, "Oh, I need to take a break from that." Because I'm so in tune with my hair. I know the changes it will go through. I keep in mind what I'm up against, hereditary wise. And so I have to pay attention. So I'm not facing that right now, and whatever's going to come, it's going to come when it's ready to come. Now
Yeah.
I do color my hair, but I color it safely. I
Oh,
do have
I
some.
dye my beard. I dye my beard.
Okay, okay.
And then I get the chemical on my face. Sometimes if I leave it on there it starts burning, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I gotta get
Hmm.
that off. They say to put Vaseline like right here because I get these little red hairs. I got a few grays too, but I want it all to be the same. So I use it just for
Yeah,
me.
you can as a barrier from your skin. You can. Uh huh.
Yeah, and it seems to work. It seems to
Yeah.
work. Thank you for breaking all that down because I think it really is important to educate younger women about hair care. I really do. I feel bad, talking to these women and they tell me all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, that sucks. If somebody just would have told you to stop, you might not be
Yes.
here.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot to add, I used to be a hairstylist too. So
Oh, you did
that
everything.
worked. Yeah, I did. I did a little everything. So that's why I have my cosmetology license. I've had that for, gosh, I think since 2005, 4, 5. So I've had my Cosmo license for a very long time. So
Chakay
I
can
know a
do it
little
all,
bit,
people.
pretty much.
You're very humble. You're very humble.
you know, um, it's just me. Just even talking to me now, this is just who I am. I I've been on a very, very long journey in life, Joey. And I always keep rediscovering myself. I love the space that I'm in right now. Over the last couple years, I've really found um, who I really truly am, and I'm pretty much in love right now. In love with finding having peace and joy in my heart, and I just so I that's how I move. I was doing it for everybody, and always having myself on the back burner. Again, as a woman growing up, that's what was instilled in us, and always doing for others, which nothing's wrong with that, but we always get lost in the shuffle of that. So now it's not on the back burner anymore. I'm up right in the front.
I love
And
that.
I want to make sure that I stay there. So it's a choice that I have to make to be where I'm at personally. Uh, and that's choosing peace, choosing joy, choosing happiness. And so I have it within me. And so people around me, my students, my clients, my friends, my husband, my kids, um, they see the change. And it's such a great feeling. And so as I move forward in the industry, that's how I move, you
That's
know.
that's beautiful. There's plenty of people, we all know them, who go through their whole lives who never get, to know themselves and be at
Mhm.
peace with themselves and to be happy. Everyone listening, there are plenty of people who go through life who never truly get to the point that you're at. And I love to hear that. That's beautiful.
It's when you get to that place, you will do anything and everything to protect that peace.
Oh yeah.
And when I train, I there's these three words, um PCP, and those are my three words: passion, commitment, and purpose. uh
Boom.
yes.
Love it.
And that's how I train, and that's how I want my students to feel coming out of my trainings. This is your passion. Let it be your passion, because you have passion for anything, everything else will follow and fall into place the way it should be. So have passion for what you do. Be committed to it, and find what your purpose is, not just in the industry, but in life. What is your purpose? And I feel like my purpose is continue to inspire and to continue to help people, especially in this industry. Um, and I don't know everything. I just know what I know. But as a educator, I took that role, and I don't take it lightly, but I made a commitment to myself to be the best version of me, and to give students a fighting chance in this industry to be the best version of themselves.
I love that. I love that. That's a great okay. And what that's a great way to wrap it up, people. Chakay is inspiring us. How can people find you? What's your social media? What's your website? All that stuff.
So my social media is my name at Chakay Smith. So Chakay Smith underscore SMP. My website is, you can find me at two places. You can find me at GerowHairInc.com or the Bar Aesthetics.com, which is my other baby where I do my PMU services and lashes. Um, so yeah, those two places, three places.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on, Chakay.
Daddy.